You're probably sitting there scrolling through a dozen 86-inch screens, wondering if any of them are really worth the cash, especially when a commercial-grade panel can feel like a gamble. I get it, you don't want to drop a few $1,000s on a display that ends up looking good in the specs sheet but falls flat in the conference room, the classroom, or the retail wall you're trying to outfit. You want to know if this particular model actually delivers on the promises that make it sound like a premium solution, and whether those promises line up with the way you'll use it day to day. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through what the ViewSonic CDE8614 brings to the table, where it shines, and where you might hit a snag, so you can decide if it's the right fit before you click Add to Cart. First off, the size and resolution are the obvious headline makers, an 86-inch panel with true 4K UHD. In a boardroom that seats 10 or a lecture hall where you need every seat to see details without craning their necks, that extra screen real estate can be a game changer. The pixel density means text stays crisp even when you're pulling up spreadsheets, and high-resolution video looks cinema-like. That's not just a marketing buzzword, it translates to fewer eye strain complaints when you're running long presentations or streaming training modules. What makes the CDE8614 feel more like a workstation than a passive display is the built-in single-cable USB-C productivity hub. In practice, you can connect a laptop, a streaming stick, or even a small media box, and the display handles power, video, and data over one connector. I've seen teams set up a meeting room where the presenter just plugs the laptop into the USB-C port, hits a button on the remote, and the screen instantly mirrors the laptop while also pulling up the room's calendar and video conference software pre-installed on the Android 14 OS. No extra dongles, no wrestling with HDMI cables that disappear into a drawer. For anyone who runs a tight schedule and doesn't want tech support on standby, that simplicity is a real productivity boost. On the connectivity side, the display doesn't stop at USB-C. You also get HDMI, RJ45 Ethernet, RS232, and a Wi-Fi BT slot. That breadth means you can integrate the screen into a corporate AV system, hook it up to a digital signage player, or use it as a smart display in a retail kiosk. The free fleet device management that ViewSonic bundles in the cloud console lets IT admins push software updates, change content schedules, or troubleshoot remotely. In a multi-site rollout, that can shave hours off each deployment because you're not sending a tech to each location to flip a switch. Now, let's talk about the everyday visual experience. The panel uses a High-Haze, reflection-free coating that keeps glare down even when you have overhead lights or windows behind the audience. In my own test setup, the room had a mix of fluorescent lighting and natural light from a large window, and the display remained easy to read without the washout you sometimes see on glossy 4K panels. That's a practical win for any environment where lighting can't be fully controlled: classrooms, waiting rooms, even open office meeting pods. Brightness is rated at 350 nits. That's plenty for well-lit interior spaces, but it's not a TV room level of punch. If you plan to mount this display in a bright retail window or a space with direct sunlight, you might notice the picture look a little subdued compared to a dedicated outdoor-rated sign. For most indoor commercial uses, however, 350 nits is comfortably above the threshold where details get lost, and the High-Haze coating helps maintain contrast. Where the CDE8614 could feel a little limiting is in the audio department. The unit doesn't include built-in speakers, so you'll need an external sound system if you want decent audio for video conferences or presentations. That's not a deal-breaker, but it does add another component you have to plan for. The same goes for the Android 14 platform. While it gives you a read-to-torrent ecosystem for apps like Zoom, Teams, or digital signage software, the app selection isn't as extensive as a full-blown Windows PC. If your workflow relies on niche Windows-only tools, you'll still need a separate device. Weight and mounting are also worth mentioning. At this size, the panel is heavy enough that you'll need a professional-grade wall mount or a sturdy kiosk frame. The mounting points are standard VESA, but you'll want a mount that can handle the bulk and provide proper ventilation. Improper mounting can lead to heat buildup, which over time could affect longevity, so budgeting for a good mount is part of the overall cost. Who should definitely consider the ViewSonic CDE8614? If you're a corporate IT manager looking to outfit multiple meeting rooms with a unified, easily managed solution, The combination of 4K resolution, USB-C hub, and fleet management is a strong value proposition. Educational institutions that need a large, clear display for lectures, labs, or collaborative projects will also benefit from the reflection-free surface.